What's going on, everyone? So the Miami Heat are currently the seventh seed in the Eastern Conference, a team that is in the play-in. Again, currently they are only a game and a half back of the Indiana Pacers for the sixth seed. They are also tied right now, even with the 76ers for that eighth seed. I don't really see them dropping any lower than the eighth seed. They are currently like 5 games ahead of the Chicago Bulls and even more, like 7 games ahead of the Atlanta Hawks. It's just so many games to cover. That would just be like a catastrophic type of meltdown in order for that to happen. So more likely than not, they're the seventh, eighth seed. Best case scenario, they finish somewhere in that like 6 or 5 range. Anything beyond 5, even 5 is a little tough because they're 3.5 games back of the Orlando Magic for the 5 seed. I think personally, if I had to guess, sixth place is their goal. More likely than not, the seventh or eighth. But look, Miami, Heat culture, Jimmy Butler in the playoffs, all of a sudden gets Michael Jordan possessing his body, and just he's ridiculous. And Miami has been for years now the giant slayers, right? They are the team that you just don't want to see in the playoffs. Their grit, their grind, their hustle, them doing the dirty work. They always are finding those diamonds in the roughs that really step up. And Miami, they've dealt with a lot of injuries. They've dealt with a lot of circumstances this season as to why they are the 7th seed. There have been times this year where they look spectacular, where Miami looks like a team that's like, there they are. That's a team to be feared. And then there's times where they just kind of look like they don't really care about the regular season. Jimmy Butler, too. He's been like that pretty much his entire career, where it's just like regular season Jimmy is not pedestrian, but he's like, okay, he's a good player, right? But you're like, he's not your number one guy. He's maybe your 2 or 3 guy. And then you get into the playoffs and it's like, oh, nope, Jimmy Jimmy Butler's probably, I still think he's probably better as a 2 than a guy, but look, he's shown that he can get you there. Right? Can he finally get over the hump? But you look at these teams, right? The Milwaukee Bucks, the Boston Celtics, the Cleveland Cavaliers, the Knicks, the Magic, the Pacers, the Sixers. None of these teams do I look at and go, Miami has no shot. Right? Miami, I definitely think should still be feared. Boston, I think they're a team that should, in theory, kind of run through Miami. Just because, you look at their starting 5, you look at just their sides, just everything that they have. It's like they match up seamlessly. Milwaukee, look, Miami's had their number. Yes, they have Damian Lillard now, but the Bucks have not looked great this season, right? Like they've had their struggles. They're just very talented. They're a very talented team, but there's times this season where Milwaukee, they look very vulnerable. They look like a team that they're not great defensively. They have Giannis playing at a historic level, and then Damian Lillard, not the same Damian Lillard, but he's still good enough to where the Bucks have been able to kind of stay around that 2 seed, but also they've been beneficial from injuries. Like the Knicks looked, and I still think that they might be the second best team in the league, or in the Eastern Conference, not the league. Rewind. Second best team in the East behind the Boston Celtics. When they were fully healthy, they had it all. The defense, the offense, they had the versatility. To me, with the Knicks, it's just which Julius Randle shows up. If you get like the Julius Randle from like last playoffs, then yeah, never mind. Forget that. But if you get like a serviceable, even just like 80% of what he is in the regular season, Julius Randle, the Knicks are tough. And they have their guy in Jalen Brunson that is going to show up in the playoffs. He's shown it time and time again. So Cleveland, call me crazy. I'm not super sold on Cleveland. I'm not like super fond of Cleveland. I think Miami could and probably should beat Cleveland in a 7-game series. I also think that Miami's experience is going to go a long way in that. I just think the grit and grind of Miami is going to cause some trouble for the Cavs. Same thing with the Orlando Magic, and same thing for the Indiana Pacers. Like, it's, to me, it's the Celtics, the Knicks. Those are the two teams that I think could give Miami the most trouble, and probably should beat Miami, just because the Knicks, they match up really well and size-wise and everything like that. And they got a guy in OG who can defend Jimmy Butler and try to slow him down. So I think that the Knicks have like the depth and stuff to just kind of throw the onslaught on Miami. The Sixers, which Joel Embiid do you get? Right? Like, how does Joel Embiid look? Right? And to me, it's just, I really think, and maybe this is a little crazy, but I think if Miami ends up playing the Bucks, right? If Miami, because right now, let's say Miami finishes as the 7th seed, you have the Bucks playing the Heat, and you'd have the Sixers playing the Celtics, which those two first rounds, if Joel Embiid comes back, is going to be insane. But Miami playing Milwaukee, I actually think Miami might beat Milwaukee in the first round. Like, genuinely. I think Miami's going to give them some fits. Last season, if Giannis doesn't get hurt, I think Milwaukee beats Miami. Genuinely. Like, I do. I think Giannis going down really hurt Milwaukee's chances last year. But they were also a very different team. They were better defensively. They were a little more well-rounded last year. Where this year, again, they're you got to worry and have your concerns about Damian Lillard, no doubt, right? Giannis is Giannis, and he's going to do Giannis things. But, like, not having Drew Holiday, I think, is going to hurt them tremendously. Chris Middleton, which Middleton do you get in that playoff run? He's kind of been in and out all season. Like, I don't know. I really like the Bucks Heat matchup for Miami. Like, I think that they can, I'm not saying, like, put money on it or anything like that, but, like, I don't think anyone would be shocked if Miami upsets Milwaukee in the first round again. I genuinely believe that could be the case. Now, Boston, right? Because, like, let's say Sixers leapfrog them. Miami. Again, I think Miami could give the Celtics trouble. I just don't. And maybe it's just because it's how good the Celtics have been this year, right? I just don't see, and I just can't get there as far as, like, the Celtics losing to Miami. I just look at that starting five, and I'm just like, they should run through Miami. Like, Miami's going to win a game or two, but I just, like, that series should be wrapped up in 5, if not 6 at the worst, if you're Boston. But then you really think about it, and it's like, okay, well, which Jason Tatum shows up? Because, like, there are times where Jason Tatum is just, he's unbelievable. And then you have those playoff games where he just completely disappears. And it's like he's not even out there on the basketball court. And especially in big games and fourth quarters, right? Like, it's a real question with him. I mean, how many like important games, game 6s, game 7s, whatever, closeout games, does, like, Jason Tatum have, 30 going into the fourth quarter? And it's like, okay, here we go. We need Tatum, close it down, bring us home. And he like has 0 points in the fourth. And you're like, dude, you just lost this game. Like, Tatum, where were you? Like, yeah, it's great. On paper, you dropped 30. But if you actually watch the games, it was like you were a complete non-factor when it mattered. Right? Like, as soon as the pressure came on, that was it. There he goes. So, to me, but it's like, do the Celtics have enough to offset if Tatum has, like, Kristaps Porzingis and Al Horford, right? Throw in those two at Bam. And then, you have Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown and you even have, White and I think Drew Holiday is going to be a huge just added benefit for them. And they just have so much just switchability and versatility and matchup excellent to Miami that I don't. Miami's a team you never want to count out, right? So I'm not going to say, like, oh, I wouldn't be shocked if they beat them. I just can't get myself there, right? It's just one of those things. It's like, man, like, that would be a little surprising to me. Like, I wouldn't be like, oh my God, there's no way I didn't see that come. But I'd be like, wow, right? Like, what a win to me. Miami did that. If I'm Miami, personally, I would want to face the Bucks. And I mean, obviously, you want to get the 6th seed, play like the Cavs or somebody like that. But if they do finish as the 7th seed, I want the Milwaukee Bucks. I want to finish as the 7th seed if I'm Miami, because I really do think you're going to get Jimmy Butler in the playoffs, right? He's Jimmy Butler in the playoffs. We know what playoff Jimmy looks like. That dude's the greatest player to ever play the game of basketball. You give me playoff Jimmy against that Bucks team and that grit and grind that the Miami Heat just provide, and just the pressure that they can put on you and the defense. And I just, and Eric Spoelstra just over there masterminding everything. I really do, man. I really, and Doc Rivers, I do not trust Doc Rivers at all. Like, the worst thing that could happen for the Bucks is they go up 3-1. But I don't trust Doc Rivers to make proper adjustments over the course of a series. He hasn't been great at it. And I could just see Eric Spoelstra just out coaching Doc Rivers. I could see Jimmy Butler not outplaying Giannis, but playing it to a level where it neutralizes him a lot. And then it's like, what Damian Lillard shows up, right? What does Dame look like? Because, Bam's going to do Bam things, and Tyler Hero, if he's healthy, right? Like, I just look at Miami and I'm just like, man, like, I like that Bucks matchup. I really do. I really do. I mean, I would, if I had to bet on it, like if I had to, I'd probably take the Bucks. But man, I would not feel good about it. I would not feel good about it at all. Like, I'd be like, can I just put like $1 on it? It's not a bet that I would feel confident by any stretch of the imagination. But man, I do. Miami's still the giant slayer, in my opinion. I think that they're still gonna just be very impressive, and I think it's gonna be fun. I think it's gonna be a fun series, fun matchup. And like, Miami's just one of those teams you don't want to play them. Miami's the last team you want to play, last team you want to worry about. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion. I pass a question on you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? How do you feel? Do you believe Miami's still the giant slayer? Do you think that this is because that's the real question. Like, is this the moment that they finally fall? Because it's just like, how many times can they be a play-in team and just get to the finals? Right? It's like, eventually you gotta feel like, all right. But again, how do you feel? Whatever your thoughts are, I'd love to hear it. So let me know down in the comments below. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me a lot. I've been enjoying these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe channel, hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one. Thank you.